You have to check out this new commander if you love playing artifacts. Hi, I'm Warren with Crackerjack Games. If you like cool cards and hot deck techs, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Oh, and check the comments for a link to the full deck list in my Mox field. We're taking a look at the new Final Fantasy commander, Noctis, Prince of Lucis, and this cEDH deck is running 26 artifacts. And why are we doing that? Well, once you have your 1 and an Esper commander on the battlefield, you can cast artifact spells from your graveyard by paying 3 life in addition to their mana cost. They're supposed to enter with a finality counter, and that just means that if they were to leave the battlefield, you exile them instead. So second use on a lot of artifacts seems really, really good, but if we can get some cards into our graveyard first, it's like we're drawing artifacts without actually getting them into our hand. Now, when you hear artifact deck in cEDH, you have to think combo deck, and this is no different. Aetherflux Reservoir is one of the big win cons in the deck. We're going to try and cast as many artifacts as we can, pay 50 life, take out an opponent, repeat. Well, how do we do that? It's cEDH, so please don't come at me for proposing this $800 card, but with Mox Diamond. Now, despite what Mox Diamond actually says on its text box, if you don't discard a land when it resolves, it goes straight into the graveyard. There's no actual sacrificing it from the battlefield, which means with Noctis, you don't actually put a finality counter on it. So you can pay 3 life and cast this for free from your graveyard, not discard a land, it goes right back to your graveyard. And yeah, you're gonna lose 3 life every time, but eventually you're gonna start gaining life because of Aetherflux Reservoir. Simple 2-card combo, and boom, blue margaritas for everybody. Now, another line I really like that I think fits well in this deck, because we're doing graveyard stuff anyways, is entombing and then reanimating Hoarding Broodlord. This card's absolutely bonkers. Once it hits play, you demonic tutor and exile a card face down. And cards you cast from exile have convoke. So this is going to pay for a black off of whatever you can find anyways. So what do we do with this? Well, we find Saw in half. And we chop that dragon into 2 to get 2 more dragons. Which means we get to demonic tutor 2 more times. Well, what do we get with that? Well, one of them gets sacrifice, which means you can convoke it, cast sacrifice, and make 8 black mana. And the other one gets Bolas a Citadel. Or if you have some of our infinite combo pieces out already, you just get the other one. Now we have Bolas a Citadel on the battlefield, and we get to start ramming through our deck, casting spells and paying life, which is so much fun. Of course, the deck plays Thassa's Oracle, we're in blue, and you get to play Tainted Pack, which can remove your library, and Demonic Consultation. Now, if you've never cast Thassa's Oracle to win a game, here's like the correct way to play the spell. So you cast Thassa's Oracle, everyone passes priority, it resolves. When they enter the battlefield, trigger goes on the stack, you say, I hold priority, and cast Demonic Consultation. Your opponents now have to either respond to that or the other trigger, and if this resolves, you name a card. Don't name a card with Demonic Consultation until it's resolved. You don't want your opponents to know if you're going for the win, which you are, but you don't want to give them idea if you're looking for a different card instead. And then you name a card like Hot Soup, something that's not in your deck. You exile your whole deck, and now the only thing on the stack is your win the game trigger. So you win the game. But Warren, isn't this all super fragile? Well, it can be, but that's why we're in white. We have all these silence effects now, and we're playing a bunch of them. Straight up silence is always good. Grand Abolisher will make the table sweat, and it will, at minimum, sort out any interaction that's on the battlefield. We now have Voice of Victory because of Dragonstorm, and we have Ranger Captain of Eos, which prevents our opponents from casting non-creature spells on our turn. We just have to sacrifice it. And as a treat, when it enters, you get to go get Esper Sentinel. So with that much redundancy, I think that's a good thing. We should be looking for one of those pieces before we go for a win. Now, we can also win at instant speed. We have a bunch of ways to do that in Esper now too. We've got Emergence Zone. Hard to find in a non-green deck, but it'll come up eventually. We've got Born Upon a Wind. You're going to do this over top of any silly stack or anyone else's win con that is on the stack. Valley Floodcaller is going to be really good in our deck as well. Cast non-creature spells as though they had flash. This card is awesome in green decks because it usually means we get to keep untapping it and tapping it for mana because of something like Enduring Vitality. And then because we're in a really heavily laden artifact deck, we're playing Liberator Urza's Battlethopter. You can cast colorless spells as though they had flash. The other part's kind of relevant, but not really. On top of all of this, to help us prevent the finality counters and other counters in the game, which could be a downside in some spots, but we're not going to play it till it matters for us. We get to play Solemnity. Now, when I got back into the game and I bought a box of Hour of Devastation, the first foil rare I ever got, and back then there was one foil rare per box, was a Solemnity, and it was worth a couple of bucks. But ever since we've gotten +1, -1 counter stuff over and over and over again, this card shot up in price because it's the only foil printing of the card. And I think that's just cool. We have some grindy pieces in the deck too, in case everything goes sideways. We get to play Lotus Bloom, and yeah, that's a suspend 3 to get it on the battlefield, but we're playing Tameshi with it. And Tameshi says pay 0 and a white, and return land from your hand, and return Lotus Bloom from your graveyard to the battlefield. There's a whole cEDH combo deck built around Tameshi and Lotus Bloom, and Ancient Den, which we're playing in our mana base. And this lets you go off and make a ton of mana, and hopefully you win because you're not going to have a lot of lands in your battlefield after this is over. I said we're playing artifacts. What's grindier than the One Ring as far as artifacts go? We've got Manamo to untap it. We're playing Voltaic Key. We're playing at Manifold Key. We're going to get so much burden, but we're going to draw so many cards. And from Aether Drift, we get to play Repurposing Bay. Artifact Birthing Pod can't be bad, right? Just start turning our 1 and 2 mana artifacts into, well, Urza's Battlethopter and the One Ring. That seems good. And again, it's a cEDH deck, so of course we're playing Rhystic Study. This thing just absolutely beats the table down the longer it's out there. And we're playing Smothering Tithe. We need those treasures to cast our spells. There's so much to do in Esper, we need the mana. And of course, we've got the Mystic Remora. Hopefully we can keep counters off this thing, and if we have Solemnity out, we won't have to worry about putting counters on it. So, new Final Fantasy set coming out. We've got Noctis, Prince of Lucis. I think this deck's going to be really cool to try in cEDH. At the very least, it's full of a ton of staples. Find the link to my Mox field in the comments. You've been around this long, so you might as well subscribe. Hope this helps.